To address the issues facing Tennesseans today, from 10 News, this is Inside Tennessee.
Good morning and welcome to Inside Tennessee. I'm your moderator, John Becker. We're going to turn our attention to Tennessee House District 89. Roger Kane spent the last half dozen years representing the almost 70,000 people in this district, and you can see it covers a big swath of north and northwest Knox County. We have heard from the two Democrats running in this race. Joining us, out of the 5 Republicans, 4 here for this Sunday conversation. I'm going to introduce them as they are lined up next to me. Tim Hutchison, Justin Lafferty, Jesse Nelson, and Guy Smoak here with us this morning. Thank you all for being here. We're going to note that Stacey Campfield is the 5th person in this race. He did not respond to multiple invitations to appear on the broadcast this morning. Our panel is Don Bosch. He runs his own law firm. He's a Democrat. Nice to have you.
Good morning, John.
And on the Republican side is Mike Cohen. He runs his own PR firm.
Morning, JB.
Good morning. My colleague John North with us from WBIR as well.
Morning, John.
Good morning. We're going to go down the line and begin with you, Sheriff, about why you decided to throw your hat in this ring and what about your background makes you the right candidate.
Well, for one thing, I've spent a lifetime doing public service and I enjoy public service. And many times while I was sheriff, I'd always think, you know, don't they ever listen to us in Nashville? Don't they want to convey something back to us from Nashville before they make decisions on certain laws? So I decided that I would run this time, and you know, I'm a Christian. I'm pro-life. I'm pro-Second Amendment. Somebody's been a policeman all their life, obviously, is going to be pro-Second Amendment, and you know, I believe in good education and that the teachers need to be able to teach in the classroom, not worry about testing. So there are just so many things that I believe need to be addressed, and that's one of the reasons I decided to run.
Mr. Lafferty.
I've gotten involved in this race because I've reached a point, and I think a lot of people in our community have. They're tired of seeing the politicians get returned to office over and over again, and the results that have been produced over the years have been good for them and not so good for our people. And I've hit the point where I'm tired of sitting back and watching. I've got some time on my hands to dedicate to this. I've got the educational background for it. I've got the business background for it. I've got the time to give to my community, and I want to do what I can to make sure that this stays a great place to live.
Mr. Nelson.
Yes, thank you, and good morning. Yeah, so I'm also a lawyer like Mr. Bosch. I've got a small law firm in West Knoxville. I've represented individuals, I've represented businesses, and what I've seen in running a business and being a lawyer is that the decisions that are made in Nashville really do affect us here locally. Obviously things that happen in Washington do as well, but of course they have to sort of trickle down through things. Decisions made in Nashville have a direct impact, and there's a lot of great things happening in our district. There's a lot of things still to be addressed, and I think with a legal background, this is a position that writes law and it crafts law to address problems, and so I believe a legal background sets me apart and would help me a lot in this race.
Guy Smoak.
As a physician, we're taught to address and analyze and treat complex problems, and I think I would like to see that approach on political issues. You know, political issues need to be solved with more than just a bumper sticker. Complex issues deserve complex solutions, and we're trained to do that. I think the other thing is that the opioid crisis got on my heart as a physician, and you know, we spend 1/6 of our economy, close to it, on health care. We're not getting a good return on that investment. I want to make health care a little more accessible and a little better. Also, education is another big issue of mine.
Doctor, let's stick with you and dig into the issues now. You mentioned 2 that you're interested in. Feel free to pick one of those as the issue you think is most important to the folks in your district and to the state.
Well, the healthcare, anytime they talk about healthcare reform, it's never about healthcare reform. It's always about insurance reform. It's never really truly about healthcare reform. The discussions about healthcare reform, again, is how can we get patients and the physicians back in control of their own health care. You know, as it is now, it's always a debate on who's going to pay for this and who's going to pay for that, and it's never really done on how to make the health care better, how to improve that and make it more accessible. I think a lot of people ask me, is health care a privilege or a right? And I say it's neither one. It's a precious commodity, and it's going to be rationed one way or the other. In Canada, it's rationed by wait times. in this country it's rationed by cost. And so I think we can do a better job of figuring that out.
Mr. Nelson, the issue you'd like to tackle?
Yeah, the big thing for me that I'm hearing in our district is I think unique in that we have experienced so much growth in Northwest Knox County, and so roads and infrastructure are a huge thing for me. The amount of cars that we're putting on our country roads in Northwest Knox County continues to grow. And it's a challenge. It affects quality of life. It's a safety issue, and so roads and infrastructure, that's a huge issue for me. And the opiate is another one as well that I think that we've got to keep our foot on the throttle. It's costing millions of lives. It's costing millions of dollars. It's affecting education. It's affecting our families. We have more grandparents raising children now than ever because of the opiate issue. And so those are two of the big issues for me.
Mr. Lafferty.
I'd like to try and address an education issue, one that I've seen in my business, one that I've heard from employers in our community, and one that I hear from some of my tenants as well that are in trades businesses. We have a desperate lack right now of young people that are capable of doing anything trades related. Not only that, we've got an abundance of young people that are getting out of college with tons of college debt, and they're taking $20,000, $30,000 a year jobs after acquiring that debt. I think there's space that we can get some kids that have taken care of the basics in high school. Let's get them out of the classroom after lunchtime, juniors and seniors probably. You don't want everybody doing it, but let's get these older kids that have taken care of their basics in class. Let's get them onto some trucks. Let's get them into some showrooms. Let's get them someplace where they can learn something with their hands. Maybe get them a little high school credit. Maybe let the employers find some kids that are worth taking a chance on after graduation. And it doesn't take any tax dollars to do it. The employers are looking for it. The kids may be looking for it. And even if they don't find something they love, maybe they mark something off their list without going thousands of dollars into debt.
Mr. Hutchison.
Well, you would think it'd be law enforcement and safety, community safety for me, and that's a large part of what I would know the most about. But it's actually education. I have my youngest daughter is a special ed school teacher. She's now working for the state, but she's taught for many years in the Knox County school system. And you know, it's imperative that we take care of our children, that we educate our children, and we've got to where we've had all of this, I would say, interference coming from the federal government down to the state government and into the classroom where they really can't teach most of the time. Now they're all concerned about preparing the students for testing. And it's kind of like, as Mr. Bosch would know, it's the Crosley Bar Review. You cram for it all of this time. You're really cramming to take a test. And now they sort of turned everything to, we need to be getting them, preparing them ready for the test rather than teaching them the writing and the arithmetic and those basic things they're going to need later on when they get out in a job. But
Sheriff, if you have the test right, isn't that the right thing to do? That's a question about what the test is, because we have to have a way to measure what's getting done in the classroom, don't we?
We do have to have a way to measure it, but that shouldn't be the priority, and it's been the priority.
We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back with more of our questions and conversation with the panel right after this.